The best thing about single-player games is that there's no one else. You don't need the internet. It's just you and the world of the game. In this list, we're going to talk about exactly 20 games like that. If you're ready, let's get started. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. You wake up as a warrior in ancient Greece, and the world basically tells you, go wherever you want. Odyssey took everything the series had done before and stepped back, rebuilding a true open world from the ground up. You travel between islands, recruit mercenaries, and choose sides in the war between Athens and Sparta. But the real core is the journey of your character, finding a lost family, understanding who you are, and living in a world where your choices actually matter. You play as either Cassandra or Alexios, and both are so well written that fans are still debating who the real protagonist is. Naval battles, massive fortress raids, and a world that feels like it's been frozen in time for thousands of years. No other game makes ancient Greece feel this alive, and once you step onto those islands, you really don't want to leave. Marvel's Spider-Man. Swinging across the rooftops of New York City just never gets old. Insomniac's Spider-Man redefined what a superhero game should feel like. But the best part is this: you're not just Spider-Man, you're Peter Parker too. When the mask comes off, life keeps going. You're struggling to pay rent, worrying about Aunt May, and running into people from your past in the worst possible timing. Then you put the suit on. The movement, the combat, the way the city stretches out beneath you, it's not just gameplay, it's pure feeling. Manhattan feels alive in a way few games ever achieve. The story hits you hard, the ending stays with you, and when the screen fades to black, you just sit there thinking, yeah, that was perfect. I never thought I'd watch Kratos try to raise a child, and I definitely didn't expect it to hit this hard. God of War is one of the boldest reinventions in gaming. They took a character built on rage and destruction and gave him a son. One continuous camera, no cuts, no break. Just Kratos and Atreus growing together, struggling together, and confronting a world rooted in Norse mythology. The combat is heavy and satisfying. Throwing the Leviathan axe feels incredible. The puzzles keep your mind engaged, but none of that is the real center. It's the father-son relationship. There's a moment in this game, no spoilers, but anyone who's played it knows exactly the one, and it goes quiet afterward. Completely quiet. This isn't just a game you play, it's one you feel. Elden Ring. Nothing is explained to you, and that's exactly the point. When you start Elden Ring, you're lost. You don't know where to go, what to do, or what anything means, and the game never rushes to help you. Every discovery is yours. Every boss you beat is yours. Every piece of lore you piece together is earned. The Lands Between, created by From Software with world-building influence from George R.R. Martin, is one of the most layered game worlds ever made. Every corner hides a secret. Every boss feels like a story on its own. And then you see it, the Erd Tree, for the first time in an open field. That moment sticks with you. Yes, it's hard, really hard, but the feeling you get after finally beating a boss you've struggled with, no other game comes close. For years, people said classic FPS games were dead. This game doesn't let you think too much. You move or you die. You stay aggressive, constantly pushing forward. Health comes from kills. Momentum comes from execution. The entire game is built around speed and violence flowing together perfectly. But underneath all that chaos is a surprisingly simple and powerful character, the Doomslayer. He doesn't talk. He doesn't explain himself. He just does the job. And somehow that silence makes him even more iconic. And then there's Mick Gordon's soundtrack. The moment it kicks in during combat, something in you changes. Doom isn't just a game. It's a non-stop adrenaline show. Horizon Forbidden West. Aloy has already been through one massive adventure, but Forbidden West takes everything and scales it up. The moment you step into the forbidden lands of the West Coast, the world just hits you. Flooded cities, dense tropical jungles, and massive flying machines moving across the sky. And as Aloy moves through it all, above it, below it, inside it, you really feel how alive this world is. Machine hunting is still the heart of the series. When you face something like a Thunderjaw, it's not just combat, it's strategy. Which part do you break off? Where is the weak point? When do you retreat? Every machine feels like a different puzzle you have to solve in real time. But what really makes Forbidden West stand out is scale. Swimming mechanics, a glider, new weapon classes, and a much deeper world story. Aloy's journey isn't just about survival. It's about understanding who she is in a world that keeps expanding around her. Cyberpunk 2077. Its launch was rough, there's no denying that. But today, Cyberpunk 2077 stands as one of the greatest comeback stories in gaming. Night City is easily one of the best cities ever created in a video game. Neon lights, decaying streets, and wealth and poverty existing side by side in a brutal dystopia. It's so detailed that you can lose hours just walking around. As Vi, you decide who you want to be: street kid, corporate agent, or nomad. And every choice changes your relationship with the world around you. With the Phantom Arkham Liberty expansion, the story reaches a level that completely redefines how people see the game. There's a scene, no spoilers, but it's already considered one of the best cinematic moments in gaming this year. If you've been waiting to visit Night City, the wait is over. Ghost of Tsushima. Japan, 1274, the Mongol Empire has invaded the island, and you, the last surviving samurai, are forced to make a choice. Fight with honor, or fight from the shadow. Ghost of Tsushima captures what it means to be a samurai, better than almost anything else. Even the way you explore feels different. There are no map markers guiding you. Instead, the wind leads you. Grass moves, trees respond, and nature itself tells you where to go, and you follow. Combat is ritualistic. Duels feel cinematic and intense. When you face an enemy one-on-one, the tension is real. But what truly makes this game unforgettable is its atmosphere. Every frame looks like a painting. Walking through bamboo forests, meditating in abandoned shrines, or watching the sunset from a cliff. These aren't just gameplay moments, they're experiences. This game came out in 2010, and people are still trying to fully understand it. With Alan Wake, Remedy created something rare, a true psychological thriller in game form. You play as a writer who wakes up in a nightmare where his wife is missing. People are being taken by darkness, and a story he doesn't even remember writing is coming to life. The gameplay is simple. Shine light on enemies before you can shoot them, but that simplicity is intentional. The real fear doesn't come from combat. It comes from the darkness itself. Standing in a forest with a flashlight, hearing movement around you, wondering what the next page of the story will bring. After Alan Wake 2 released, many players went back to the original, and that's when they realized just how special it really was. Death Stranding 2, On the Beach. Kojima always builds things differently, and Death Stranding 2 might be his boldest vision yet. The first game divided players. Some called it a masterpiece. Others didn't know what to make of it. The sequel pushes that divide even further. But one thing is certain, the feeling it creates is unlike anything else. You're not just completing delivery, you're rebuilding a broken world, connecting people, and every step, every bridge, every structure you place pulls you deeper into that world. The story is more complex this time. The characters are richer, and Kojima's signature cinematic style, music, and surreal storytelling all hit even harder. Some games entertain you, this one makes you think, and long after you stop playing, it stays with you. Persona 5 Royal. You go to school in the morning. In the afternoon, you're studying for hours inside a hidden room under a cafe. And at night, you enter another dimension to change people's heart. Persona 5 Royal is easily one of the best written JRPGs ever made. And what makes it special isn't the size of the story, it's the depth, the struggles of your classmate, the hidden past your teachers are trying to escape, and the corruption rotting beneath the city. Everything is connected, and you're right in the middle of it. The turn-based combat is smart and stylish. The social link system is incredibly satisfying, but what really pulls you in is this. Every character feels real. Ryuji, Anne, Makoto, Futaba, everyone who plays this game ends up saying, "This is my favorite character," and it's always a different one. It's a 100-hour game, and somehow every hour feels worth it. This is the game that defined how Batman should feel in a video game. And honestly, that definition still holds up today. Arkham City turns a broken part of Gotham into a giant prison filled with criminals, and drops you right inside it. Gliding through the skyline, grappling across rooftops, throwing batarangs, every movement feels intentional. And the moment you put on the suit, you are Batman. But what makes this game legendary is its villain, Joker. Mr. Freeze, Ra's al Ghul, Hugo Strange. Every boss fight is designed differently, especially the Mr. Freeze encounter, which is still considered one of the smartest boss fights in gaming history. The story keeps surprising you. The ending leaves you silent. And when it's over, it's hard to even call it just a superhero game, because it's so much more than that. Black Myth, Wukong. The moment Eastern mythology collides with modern AAA gaming, Black Myth, Wukong answers a question the industry has been asking for years. Can a AAA game from outside the West really compete? And it doesn't just answer it, it shuts it down completely. The Legend of the Monkey King meets Souls-like combat, but this is not a clone. It has its own rhythm, its own identity, its own combat philosophy. You spin your staff, transform into different forms, and duel massive bosses under rain-soaked sky. Every boss fight feels like a performance, and between those fights, Chinese mythology unfolds in its richest form. It gives you action, but it also gives you culture. Many Western players walked away saying the same thing. I discovered a mythology I knew nothing about, and I loved it. And that's one of the most powerful things a game can do. Some stories end well, some end perfectly. Uncharted 4 belongs in the second category. From the moment you start Nathan Drake's final adventure, you feel something different. It's slower, more personal, more grounded. Family, old relationships, and a life left behind aren't just background elements, they are the story. And of course, the action is still there. Car chases, cliffside climbs, collapsing ruins. Naughty Dog basically blurs the line between cinema and gameplay. But what stays with you most is the ending. No spoilers, but saying goodbye to Drake feels less like finishing a game and more like saying goodbye to a real person. Rise of the Tomb Raider. This is the story of Lara Croft being forced to become a hero. After the reboot, Lara was younger, more fragile, more human. Rise of the Tomb Raider pushes her even further. Alone in the freezing Siberian wilderness, cut off from help, facing a mysterious enemy, and forced to survive with nothing but instinct and determination. The game blends platforming and combat with a much deeper sense of survival. Ancient tombs become real puzzles. Encounters demand strategy, and the environment itself tells part of the story. But what really stands out is Lara's journey. This isn't just an action hero story. It's about a person proving herself, confronting fear, and slowly becoming something stronger than she ever thought she could be. Red Dead Redemption 2. If you can ride a horse into a sunset and feel absolutely nothing, this game fixes that. Red Dead Redemption 2 tells the story of Arthur Morgan, one of the best-written characters in gaming history. It's 1899. The Wild West is dying. The modern world is arriving, and you're part of a gang that's slowly fading out of existence, fully aware that both the world and your own life are coming to an end. The game never rushes you. You can ride into a town just to listen to people talk. You can fish for hours. You can set up camp under the stars, and none of it feels like filler, because simply existing in this world is the reward. And when Arthur's journey comes to an end, you feel it deeply. No other game really does that. Fallout New Vegas. You might love Bethesda's Fallout games, but the true spirit of Fallout lives in New Vegas. Obsidian built this game in just 18 months, and in that time they created one of the best-written RPGs ever made. The Mojave Desert is a post-nuclear battlefield of competing ideology. Nobody is fully good, nobody is fully evil, and you're stuck right in the middle, making choices that actually matter. Every faction decision changes the world. Every dialogue option has weight, and depending on how you build your character, entire situations open or close. You can talk your way through conflict, or turn everything into a gunfight. And that freedom, that real sense of choice, is something New Vegas still does better than almost anything else. Hollow Knight. You go into this game not knowing how big it really is, and you come out not wanting to leave. Hollow Knight was made by just 2 people, and when you realize that, you start looking at everything differently. The world design, the layered lore, the fluid combat, the massive scale. Hollow Knight is a fallen underground kingdom filled with secrets, forgotten characters, and lost history. The combat takes time to master, but every skill you learn unlocks something new. Boss fights are tough, but always fair, and every new area makes you want to keep going instead of stopping. It gives you this massive, rich world inside a quiet, simple packet. And when you finish it, you just sit there for a moment thinking, 2 people made this. Years of anticipation, multiple delays, and in March 2026, it finally arrived and the industry went quiet. Crimson Desert is Pearl Abyss stepping out of the shadow of their MMO roots and aiming for something much bigger, a full single-player epic. You play as Cliff, the leader of the scattered Greymane's mercenary group, trying to bring his people together. But this isn't just a rebuild the team story. It's about political chaos, power struggles, and survival across the continent of Pywell. The combat system is one of its biggest highlights. Combo-heavy action, environmental interactions, and massive boss fights that feel almost cinematic. And the world itself stretches across frozen tundras, tropical forests, underwater cities, and floating structures, each region feeling like a different game entirely. One of the biggest surprises of 2026, and it's finally getting the attention it deserves. You go to an island as an ordinary tourist. You leave as something completely different. Far Cry 3 is the peak of the series, and a huge part of that is one character, Vas Montenegro, one of the most charismatic, dangerous, and unforgettable villains in gaming history. Do you know the definition of insanity? He asks you, and the game almost doesn't give you time to answer before pulling you deeper into his world. Jason Brody learns to survive, hunt, and make increasingly dark choices just to stay alive. And that transformation is the real story. How does a normal guy turn into this? Every Vas scene is iconic. The atmosphere is humid, beautiful, and constantly threatening. And even today, the sense of freedom, exploring the island, tracking enemies, setting ambushes in the dark, still feels incredibly fresh.